Do you play City Heroes and want to do as much damage as possible to all of the enemies around you in melee range? I'm Controlled Chaos, and in this video I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Now, we're going to be doing a Spine Fiery Aura build. You can do this with a tank, a brute, or a scrapper. I highly recommend the brute because of their secondary nature ability of increasing the amount of damage they do the longer they're in battle, so you can run from group to group. But let's go ahead and get into the abilities. The first one is Barb Swipe. This is a lethal damage light. It also does a dot of toxin with a reduced to speed and recharge on the enemy. In fact, all of them do the toxin, reduced speed, and recharge. Then there's Lunge, which does moderate damage. Then there is Spine Burst, and Spine Burst is the first area of effect around you that you get is just a one burst and works really well there. Then you have Impale, which is a root, so it keeps them from flying, immobilizes them, things like that. It is moderate damage. Then there is Quills. This is your first constant area of effect, minor damage. That is a constant dot, so it doesn't have its chance to dot, it's always a dot, and that works out great. Then we have Ripper. Ripper is a cone effect in front of you, high damage ability with the chance to knock back. Then we have Thrown Spines. This one is ranged, does light damage, so it allows you to do some pulling, which works out great there. Then on the Fire Aura area, we have Fire Shield. This is your first defense ability. It uses resist damage for the defense. It's resists to fire, lethal, smash, cold, and disorientates. Really great for that. Then we have Blazing Aura. This is your second area of effect around you, dot for fire. Then we have Healing Flames. This is your heal. This will help keep you alive. Then we have Temperature Protection, which is always on, so it's an auto, and as a resist to fire, cold, slows, and knocks, plus regen. Then we have Plasma Shield. This is a increased resistance on energy, negative, fire, holds, and sleeps. Then we have Consume. Consume will bring back endurance to you and increase your maximum hit points. Then we have Burn. This is an area effect that you put down and lasts for a certain amount of time, so it's not constant. It is a area effect dot around you and a resist to mobilize and does decent damage. Then we have Fiery Embrace. This is a plus to damage. Then we have Phoenix Rising. This is a self-res, and this one's really cool because it does damage to all of the enemies around you, has a chance of knocking them back and disorientating them. That works out really good. Now, when making this build, I highly recommend that when you get your epic pool powers, you go with Fire Mastery, because you will get several fire abilities that will help you out. The first one being Ring of Fire, which is a root. It's a ranged ability. Then we have Fire Blast, which is a ranged damage ability. Then we have Melt Armor, which is an AoE that reduces their defense, so you're able to do more damage and hit them more often. Then we have Fireball, which is a ranged AoE attack. All these are great for pulling. Really helpful in that. Now, let's go ahead and let's talk about how we're going to slot this all up. We're first going to start with spines. With spines, there are three ways that you can do this for almost all of this. You can either go accuracy, damage, or recharge reduction on the enemy, so they're hitting you a lot less. With that being said, it depends on how you want to go with this. Wherever you want the most is what you slot with. Of three You can forgo the recharge if you want to and just go like accuracy and damage like I've done, or you can put in a few recharges or a bunch of recharges. I at least recommend that in each one you put at least one accuracy in to help improve your hit chance rate. The only one that I do a bit differently is your quills. Your quills, you want to make sure that you at least 3 slot with endurance reductions, because this is a toggle ability. You want to make sure it's using as little endurance as possible. Now, let's move over to Fiery Aura. This one, we're going to start with a Fire Shield. You want to put the resist damage. You want to put 2 to 3 in there of resist damage. You want to make sure that you have 2 to 3. I highly recommend 3 endurance reductions. Then we have Blazing Aura. I recommend at least 1 accuracy, 3 endurance reductions, maybe a damage thrown in there. Healing Flames, only slot with 3, and put in the heals in there. You might want to put in some endurance reduction, or not endurance reductions, but recharge time in there might help. Temperature Protection, this one you only need to have 3 slots of resist damage. You don't need anything else. Plasma Shield, I recommend resist damage and make sure it's 3 slots with 3 endurance reductions. Consume, I recommend 3 healths and 3 endurance modifiers for this one. Burn, I recommend at least an accuracy or 2, a little bit of damage, and some recharge reduction so that you can constantly be using this in every single fight. Fiery Embrace, I leave it to the 1 slot and just go with a recharge reduction so that it can pop off more. Rising Phoenix, I would definitely go with 3 heals and 3 endurance modifiers so you get more health and more endurance back when you rest. You might even want to put in some recharge reductions on this to help out, but it's not necessary because it does have a 3-minute timer on it. Next, we're going to go over to our Inherent Fitness, and you're going to put 3 health into health and 3 endurance modifiers into stamina. If you take leaping or flight or whatever, I recommend leaping, but if you take leaping or any of those, when you have something like combat jump or hover, put in 2 defense sets and 3 endurance reductions. For the Flame Mastery, 1 socket all of them with accuracy, and then melt armor, I'd put the defense debuff on them. I'd socket it up to 3 with that so you really reduce those. With Fireball, I would also add in some damage on there, maybe another accuracy to go with that. Overall, this is how I've done my build up and setup, and the character's only level 45. I didn't get him to 50, and that's fine, but it's a really great, strong build. I really enjoy this, and I love playing this character for the high damage output to everything around me, and the fact that you can self-res and do high damage with that self-res, and that has knockbacks and disorientates, can really save you, and not having to go back to hospital or using revive inspirations is really great. And the damage output when you're running from enemy to enemy groups is great. You don't have to worry about pulling one out at a time. You can take on the entire groups, no problems. It's an amazing build. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about this build. Have a great day.